Hi everyone, welcome to the US CPA classes for business analysis and reporting examination. In this particular video, we will be discussing about state and local governmental accounting. That is around 15 to 20% of your examination, and particularly in this video I'll be covering government wide financial statement. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about the government wide financial statement.
Hi everyone, welcome to the BAR class. Today finally we are starting governmental accounting, state and local government accounting. So like we discussed high level yesterday of all the respective topic of the governmental accounting. So today one by one we will start getting into deeper details for those respective topic. Right. So like same way how we discussed yesterday, the first one is 4.1, which is format and content of financial section of annual comprehensive financial report. So the governmental financial statement, we call it annual comprehensive financial report, and it include two major things. One was government-wide financial statement, and one is government fund financial statement. And the fund may be your proprietary fund, governmental fund, fiduciary fund. Those all things we'll be discussing in detail. And then notes to financial statement, MD&A, budgetary comparison, required supplementary information, and the financial reporting of the entity. So these all things we'll be covering in 4.1. And then after we invest some good amount of time in understanding more in detail about government-wide financial statement and the reconciliation required between fund financial statement and the government-wide financial statement. So that like same way how we discussed yesterday, this is very important, and you can expect a task-based simulation which is coming from this 4.2 topic. And then after we'll discuss about type and the specific type of transaction, event, measurement, valuation, calculation, presentation of the government entity financial statement. So without wasting much time, let's jump directly into the 4.1, which is format and content of financial section of the annual comprehensive financial report. In the annual comprehensive financial report, you'll be having a government-wide financial statement as well as fund financial statement. In addition to that, you'll be having notes to accounts or the respective statements. Right. First, let's understand the level of reporting. So like we discussed earlier, the overall broad umbrella, we call it comprehensive annual financial reporting. That is for all the state and local governmental units. Within that, there are two things. One is government-wide financial statement, and the second is government fund-based financial statement. So in the government-wide financial statement, if you look at left-hand side, they the focus of the government-wide financial statement is on operational efficiency, whereas the focus of fund-based financial statement or objective of making fund-based financial statement is the fiscal accountability. Because like same way how we discussed yesterday, let's assume there is a government and government has their own budget. So let's assume there's $1 trillion of budget which we were discussing yesterday for any particular, let's say, state government. For let's say for the California state government, they have a budget of $1 trillion, right? So $1 trillion they might have divided into, let's say they have 20 offices or 20 department. Each department, let's assume they have divided around 50 billion I think $50 billion, right? And within that department, let's assume there is an education department or skill development department. In that also there are sub department, or you can say there are different initiatives for which they need to make investment. So for example, like in the California state, the overall budget is $1 trillion that is being divided to the 20 officers or 20 department of $50 billion each. And now in that you are one department who is managing it, $50 billion. Let's say you are in education department. In education department, there are certain initiatives. So, for example, there is an initiative for entrepreneurship development, there is an initiative for infrastructure development, there is an initiative for sustainable growth, there is an initiative of basic education, or there is an initiative for skill-based education. Let's assume these are 5 initiatives, or each initiative, let's assume they have allocated $10 billion, right? That's how like the total $50 billion will be calculated, right? So in that, let's assume there's one initiative which is skill development, and they have the fund allocation of $10 billion. So now in the entire California state, they need to do skill building activity for the utilization of that fund, right? So government directly, they do not do any expense like this. What they do, they have implementation partners who do all these things. So specifically the NGOs or the trusts or the societies or not-for-profit organizations, they select to participate and do the investment as a channel partner, or you can say as a delivery partner. So they appointed, let's say, Education Ministry of the California, who wants to do skill development. They have $10 billion of fund in hand. So now they have identified 10 different NGOs who work in different pockets of the California. Within the California, let's assume there are 10 provinces, right? So to each province, they have identified one NGO who do skill development work, and they have given a fund of $1 billion to each such, you can say, NGO. So now coming to this level, the $1 billion you have given to each NGO for the expenditure purpose, right? So what you need to do at the government wide level? Government wide level, you need all the fund financial statement. That means $1 billion to each NGO which you have provided, when they have received the money, what they have expended, on what specific item they have expended, is it being aligned with the overall objective or not, right? So that specific audit is being required for that NGO, and you as a government entity need to maintain the fund financial statement for each $1 billion you have allocated, right? Now coming to the consolidation side. So first is this 10 NGOs funds which you have issued will get consolidated for the skill development. Same way, other activities also, there are, like we discussed, there are 20 departments. So each department will come up with same kind of fund-based financial statement, right? And then they will make a government-wide financial statement and do the reconciliation of this fund-based financial statement to the government-wide financial statement and make sure it is reconciling properly, right? So now coming to the theory part, if you look at 4.1.2, which is government fund-based financial statement, the focus is on the physical accountability. Why the focus is physical accountability? Because here the government is giving money to some party for the execution purpose. So here is the responsibility of the government to ensure the fiscal accountability to the person or the society or the trust or any such company to whom they are providing such fund. Whereas on the other hand, if you see 4.1.1, the focus is more administrative, focus is more operational side, that both the financial statement, government-wide financial statement and fund-wise financial statement, consolidation of that should be tying with the government financial statement. So those are operational efficiency are being focused for the government-wide financial statement, whereas fiscal accountability is more focused on fund financial statement. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Abhishek,
Yes,
sir.
Abhinesh,
इसमें सर शायद लाइन कंप्लीटली लिखी हुई है, एक बार कंप्लीट कर दीजिए
which one?
सर। जो 4.1.1 वाली साइड है
Hmm.
उस पे लिखा है डेमोन्स्ट्रेट ऑपरेशनल, दैट इज हाउ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हैज बीन यूजिंग इट्स फंड होगा।
Ah. Um, yeah, sorry. Right. So in the government-wide financial statement, there are three things. One is all governmental activity. Second is if there is any business type activity. Or third one is component unit. So first look at government-wide activity. So government-wide activity, let's assume you are running a state government. So what will be the government like government-wide activity? One is, the key thing is maintaining law and order, right? Yes or no?
Yes,
That's
yes,
a primary work for any government.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So maintaining law and order, right? Second is maintaining administrations, right? And third is you can say infrastructure growth, right? So those are like governmental activity. Second type of activity what government do is the business type activity. So for example, like electricity, right? Electricity is government owned companies, right? And you are paying bills to them.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Same way like water, transportation, railway, right? These all comes under the business type activity where government charge money from the consumer to run the business. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Third is component unit. So same way how we have Navratan in India, right? For example, Coal India, or maybe like oil and gas industry, right? Or maybe like I know there is various I think GAIL, right? Or Coal India, such kind of company who are like government owned company. Same way in US also there are certain company which is like which we call it PSU, public sector unit. Like in India we have NHPC, GAIL, Coal India, right? Same way there are certain company which is being owned by the government, right? Those are all called component units, and that is also for business activity. So these three things will come under the government-wide financial statement. So governmental activity include providing the funds, right? So if you see government-wide financial statement, you will see three items. One is governmental activity, second is business type activity, and third is component unit. Within the government activity, there would be, you can say, all the fund allocation for the respective execution of the respective work will come under the governmental activity, right? So in the government-wide financial statement, you will see two major things. One is government-wide statement of net position. Similar to for any business unit, what we have studied is a balance sheet, right? So government-wide statement of net position is similar to the balance sheet, but here you'll have assets, you'll have liability, and you have net position. Instead of equity, what do you call it? Net position.
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Mm-hmm.
जो सर हम पहले ये तीन पढ़ रहे हैं, जैसे गवर्नमेंट एक्टिविटीज है, बिजनेस टाइप एक्टिविटीज है और कंपोनेंट यूनिट्स है, ठीक है? गवर्नमेंट एक्टिविटीज में वही एक्टिविटीज हो गई जैसे आपने बोला रेलवेज हो गई या कोई और?
No, 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 no. Government activities will include like police, army, and your
Security,
administration, law and order, or jurisdiction system. So those things will come under the governmental activity, plus this fund allocation for the respective work.
इनके लिए गवर्नमेंट बेसिकली पुलिस के लिए टैक्सेस कलेक्ट करती है, नॉट डायरेक्टली कलेक्ट नहीं करती कंपनी के थ्रू।
Yes.
तो जो सर कंपनीज भी फॉर्म हुई बिजनेस टाइप एक्टिविटीज में, जैसे नवरत्न कंपनीज हैं, when they are charging some money from whatever the clients or customers they have in whatever form, तो पैसा प्रॉफिट का आता है, so it eventually goes to that company जो गवर्नमेंट कंपनी है ना? तो वो जो गवर्नमेंट कंपनी का फंड है, क्या वो फर्दर गवर्नमेंट ही यूज करती है? दे हैव टू गिव इट बैक टू द गवर्नमेंट और
Yeah. So yeah, very good question. Three things here. One is like just look at first piece of it, government activity. Governmental activity is majorly include expenditure, right?
Okay.
Whether it's on your defense or on your police or your research and development or your judiciary system, right? All those things comes under the governmental activity plus the fund allocation part of it. Now, from where all government get money, one is taxes. That also comes under the governmental activity, right? Whether it's direct tax or indirect tax. Second is business type activity, right? From the business type activity also, they earn money, right? So which is like your electricity, railway, transportation, water, sewage, such kind of activity. Third is component unit, which is a public sector unit. From there also they earn money. So these are the sources of revenue for the government.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
And governmental activity is majorly utilization of those sources in addition to taxes.
Ultimately, वो जो सर profits आ रहे हैं वो भी government use कर रही है. That is a revenue stream for
Yes, yes.
तो जगह से revenue ही आ रहा है which they are using and expending. जब हम 4.1.2 में आ जाते हैं,
Yes.
वहां पे they are allocating this fund.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
That's how like overall government budget has been built.
Okay.
Same way, for example, let's say Amazon. Amazon, they have their subsidiary in India, their subsidiary in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, Dubai, or maybe like Mexico, Canada, everywhere, right? And when they take the decision at a global level, right? When you see the consolidated financial statement, right? So there would be certain areas where the company might be performing good, but there are certain area where company wants to penetrate, right? If you look at in the business sense, same way in the governmental wide activity, or you can say government wide financial statement, if you see, there are certain area where government might be making money, but there are certain area for the development and growth of the, you can say, country, of the nation, they want to invest. Right?
Right.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Yes, sir.
So now the two major statement, one is the government-wide statement of net position, which is similar to balance sheet. Second is government-wide statement of activity, which is similar to income statement plus notes to accounts. So right, these all things comes under the basic financial statement of the government-wide financial statement. Now, component wise, or you can say fund wise financial statement, right hand side, if you see government fund based financial statement, it demonstrates, like we were discussing earlier, the fiscal accountability, because from here like money comes to the in the hand of those respective trust, NGO or society, right? And they use modified accrual accounting. That means no long-term debt or no assets or no depreciation is being required. There, three category of funds are there. One is governmental fund, second is proprietary fund, and third one is fiduciary fund. So governmental fund, basically, we'll discuss in the governmental fund. There are 5 category of funds. We'll discuss after this box in detail. And proprietary also include 2 category of fund. One is like internal service fund, and second one is the enterprise fund. So that also we'll discuss in detail. And the fiduciary funds are basically fund allocated to the trust, societies, or not-for-profit organization who own the money on behalf of the beneficiary, but they themselves should not be the beneficiary. So these are the 3 categories of funds. We will be discussing in detail in next box, like about those respective category of funds and how we need to do the accounting of the same. But as of now, just high level understand what are the categories of the funds in any government do have. Generally, governmental fund, proprietary fund, and fiduciary fund. Right? And for fund financial statement, it required to include balance sheet, statement of revenue and expenditure, and change in fund balance. Third is general fund and the major special revenue fund, statement of revenue, expenditure, and change in fund balance. Budget and actual, which is alternative. The budget comparison may be presented as a required supplementary information. So these are the information required for the fund financial statement. In addition to that, at the consolidated level, so this is at the fund level information, and now it's a consolidated level information, which is government fund based financial statement. That include, in addition to this, statement of net position, statement of revenue, expense, and the change in net position, cash flow statement, statement of fiduciary net position, and statement of change in fiduciary net position. So these are additional information, or you can say consolidated information you need to prepare for the respective fund. For example, you are an state government. In the state government, you are running Department of Education. Department of Education, like I said, you receive $10 billion fund, which you have allocated to 10 different NGOs. Now, at your department level, you must have two things. One is the respective fund-based financial statement. Second is the consolidated financial statement of all fund. Right? For the consolidated financial statement of all fund, you are required to have a statement of net position, statement of revenue, expense, and change in net position, cash flow statement, fiduciary net position, and statement of change in fiduciary net position. Right? Any doubts so far?
No, sir.
Vartika, Kashish?
No, sir.
नहीं सर क्लियर है सर.
Okay. So now we are coming down to the okay. Before coming to the fund financial statement or respective funds, there are few, you can say, topic which we need to understand. Financial statement use accrual accounting, and fund financial statement are using modified accrual accounting. Right? So yesterday we discussed three type of accounting: cash method of accounting, accrual method of accounting, and third is hybrid method of accounting. Right? Do you remember from yesterday class? Yeah. Kashish, Vartika, Avinish?
Yes, sir.
Right? So do I
Yes,
need
sir.
to explain that again? Accrual system, cash system, or hybrid system?
No,
Or
sir.
is it okay?
Yes, sir, it's okay.
Okay. So the government-wide financial statement, they use completely accrual basis of accounting, whereas fund financial statement, they use hybrid, which you call modified accrual.
Excuse me, sir. Can you please explain it again, like accrual method of accounting and all those? Because yesterday, I think I don't remember.
We discussed this yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, no worries. I think the notes I have. One second. I have somewhere. Just give me a second. Yeah. So cash basis of accounting, hope you all understand. Like when you are receiving the money, you will be recognizing the revenue, and when you are paying the money, you are recognizing the expenses. Right? Accrual basis of accounting is when goods and services are delivered, dispatched, or ownership has been transferred. At that point of time, you will be recognizing the revenue. And goods and services, when you have consumed, at that point of time, you will be recognizing the expenditure. Other than that, it is receivable or payable. Right? And then the fixed assets also need to be recognized and capitalized, and the depreciation will be charged over the period of time. So that is accrual basis of accounting high level, and cash basis of accounting is purely on the bank statement. Whatever the amount you are receiving is your income, and whatever the amount you are spending is your expenditure. Right? Till that it's clear, Avnish?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now here see like accounting, which is modified accrual method. So in the modified accrual basis of accounting, revenue is recorded in accounting period in which it is both measurable and available to the financial expenditure made during the current fiscal year. That means cash basis of accounting is when you receive the money, whereas accrual basis of accounting when you have delivered the product and services. And in modified accounting, it is somewhere in between when you have both the things. It is measurable and it is being available for the financial expenditure. You can recognize the revenue. It's more close to the accrual basis of accounting when it comes to revenue recognition. Second is expenditure are recognized in the period in which liability are both measurable and incurred. Measurable and incurred. That means you can measure it and you have already incurred it. What do you mean by incurred it? You have already utilized the benefit of product and services similar to accrual basis. Right? Measurable means that the amount of revenue or expenditure can be objectively determined, and available mean due to or past due and receivable within the current period and or collected within the current period or expected to be collected soon thereafter. Like period should not be more than 60 days. One more thing for modified accrual basis of accounting you need to keep in mind is the fixed assets. So for cash basis of accounting, we do the all amount you are receiving is considered as income, and all amount you are spending you are paying is considered as expense. Whereas for the modified accounting, you create the fixed assets as well and you charge the depreciation. So that is also one more difference between a modified accrual accounting and cash basis of accounting. Right? Abhishek, Abhineet, Ayush, Akash.
Clear, sir.
Yeah. Now coming back to this point, the financial statement use accrual accounting and fund financial statement use modified accrual accounting. So there is a gap in accounting methods, or you can say accounting policy, between government-wide financial statement or fund financial statement. So hence, the reconciliation is all the more important, right? So government fund balance sheet to statement of net position. So what reconciliation you need to make? Government fund balance sheet to net financial net position of the government wide financial statement. What is net position? Which is your assets minus liability, right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Net change in fund balance to change in government wide net position. Change in government wide net position mean your net profit. At the government wide level, you need to reconcile with the fund financial statement activities balance, right? These two reconciliation you need to make. Basically, one is for the balance sheet and one is for the income statement, if I cut it short. Right? So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now coming to fund accounting. So fund accounting, when you think about fund accounting, just think any fund which is being, let's say, Ministry of Education, they have a fund for the skill development, right? Just keep that in mind. Now let's assume they have $1 billion of the fund which is being available for the skill development in their respective state. So just keep that in mind and let's understand how we need to do the fund accounting. First one is government perform their operations through different category of fund. Government exists to perform services for the community. What is the key parameter of government? Like why someone come in the government? Because of a lot of commitment they make to the people that once we are in government, we'll do this, we'll do that for your benefit. And then people like us get fooled and give the votes to them. And once they reach to the Congress, once they reach to their position, do they actually perform what they commit? More than 90% answer is no, right? But what is the main objective of the government? Is providing services to the community for the benefit and welfare of their society or for their state or for their country, right? That's the whole objective of forming a government.
Yes, sir.
Second is they establish different fund for different services. So now the skill development department, they have $10 billion of fund. So now they have established different sub funds within that. $1 billion for infrastructure, $1 billion for skill development, $1 billion for faculty development, $1 billion for edtech company, $1 billion for entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. Let's assume they have made 10 buckets of it, right? So we need to think fund as a check-in account for study purpose. So what do you mean by check-in account? So I'm not sure like any of you have been any experience working in US, but in US normally bank have two accounts. One is checking account, second is saving account. So in India, what we call saving account and fixed deposit account, right? So how we use saving account? Same way they call it checking account. It means you will not be earning any interest on them, right? In US, for checking account balance, you have to maintain a minimum balance, but you will not be earning any interest on it. Whereas in India, banking is slightly different. So you deposit the money in your saving account and you earn some amount of interest. Whereas in US, if you want to earn the interest, then you need to transfer that to the saving account, which we call like to better earn the interest. What we do, we transfer the saving account balance to the fixed deposit and earn better interest, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? So same way in US, we call it check-in account where you'll make all the transaction, debit and credit, all incomes and payments, right? Last one is fund accounting help to maintain legal compliance and meet the legal restriction on public resources. As this all come from the public resources money, so you are accountable to the public, right? So these fund accounting actually help in maintaining more and more legal compliances. Second is meeting the legal restriction of the public resources, right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
So this is you can say overview of fund accounting, why we need to create and maintain the fund accounting. Now, next topic what we are understanding is the